I go because she was cheering me on all along the way, so I appreciate all your support. Thank you. State Senator Correa, State Assemblywoman Quirk Silva, Mayor Whitaker, distinguished guests, those of you gathered today in support and recognition of those who served in the United States military, and most especially our honored veterans. It is just a great privilege for me to be a part of the City of Fullerton's 26th Annual Veterans Day activities, to acknowledge those who have distinguished themselves as citizens by their service to our country, whether during times of conflict in our nation's wars or during times of relative peace. For nearly a century, we have celebrated our veterans on this day. When the cannons of World War I were silenced, we thought that we had fought the war to end all wars. But as history has proved, we still needed our servicemen and servicewomen. In his Veterans Day remarks from 1961, words that have great relevance even today, President Kennedy said, "There is no way to maintain the frontiers of freedom without cost and commitment and risk. There is no swift and easy path to peace in our generation. In the end, the only way to maintain the peace is to be prepared in the final extreme to fight for our country and to mean it." At this time, I know that we had the veterans stand up with their respective service song, but if you would all, I know we have those that are standing, please raise your hand if you are a veteran of the United States military. We thank you all for your selfless service in having answered the call to both secure and maintain those frontiers of freedom, knowing that in those acts of preparing for or engaging in the final extreme to fight for our country, you have sacrificed much. We honor you, who as ordinary citizens were placed in extraordinary circumstances in the World War, the Korean conflict, and Vietnam. We honor veterans from operations in Grenada, Haiti, the Balkans, Panama, and most recently, from Iraq and Afghanistan. Since the attacks of September 11th, 2001, almost 3 million American men and women have answered our nation's call to arms, and who now make up the largest population of young veterans since the Vietnam War. And we honor those veterans who served in so-called times of peace, yet who still risked their lives in training and in operations that barely caught the nation's attention in order to secure the peace for our nation and others. Your devotion to country is now a part of our rich, rich history. And the citations written for your service will be read and reread by generations to come, and what you achieved and what you sacrificed in the process will always, always be revered and remembered. I know firsthand that these sacrifices for many of you included missing the birth of a child, the graduation of a loved one, missing a significant anniversary, or the passing on of someone during your absence that could never be replaced in your lives. For others, it has been to endure the loss of fellow soldiers, airmen, sailors, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen, or be a witness to those who suffer injuries that result in a lifetime of suffering. Today's ceremony is not only to remember those living who served, but to honor too those who gave their full and final measure. They lie silently but never forgotten in our nation's cemeteries. Know, as I have been privileged to personally witness, that the warriors of today are every bit as honorable, patriotic, and courageous as those who filled the ranks in a previous time. And it's important, too, to thank their families for their selfless service and continued support of their service member, their loved one. Their support is what makes it possible for them to continue the fight for freedom. And now in closing, and I would really like to direct this to all of the junior ROTC members out here. What a tremendous show. These young men and women have committed to being the best citizens that they can be. But I want you to remember that it's said that the greatest thanks that an American can give a veteran is to not waste the freedoms that our men and women sacrificed to gain. As you pause here in reflection of those who have served and sacrificed, live your lives well and to the fullest. Be productive citizens, and in so doing, you give meaning to their sacrifice. May God bless you all and protect those serving today in harm's way, and God bless America.